F1 testing is done and dusted, and the teams are getting ready to head to Australia and start the serious work. While preseason testing has whet our appetite for F1 competition, the real test of how the teams have performed during the off-season will happen at the first race of the season. There are some assumptions we can make from what we saw at preseason testing though. Sauber are probably going to go pointless this season, McLaren will at least begin the season in a position to retain the Constructors' Championship, and Verstappen won't have won the Drivers' Championship after the first 5 races this season. On the other hand, one of the biggest question marks is what on earth is going on at Aston Martin? Well, today I'll check it out, so don't go anywhere. Today is an exciting day for Aston Martin. Adrian Newey will be walking into the Silverstone-based factory for the first time as an Aston Martin employee. Well, not just as an employee, he owns an estimated 5% of the company, thanks to the insane deal which Lawrence Stroll offered in his pursuit of an F1 title. Nonetheless, Monday the 3rd of March will be his first official day at work. Like the rest of us, Newey probably spent last week watching preseason testing with some interest to try and divine the competitive order of the grid. Unlike the rest of us, he could probably make sense of some of the changes and see the deeper meanings behind the Haas side pod blowouts and the reprofiled Red Bull engine cover. He may have enjoyed some of what he saw in the 3 days of testing in Bahrain, but will he have enjoyed what he saw from his own team? Aston Martin's fastest time at the test was set by Lance Stroll, a full 9/10 of a second slower than the absolute best, which was Carlos Sainz's 1:29.3 for Williams. The team ran the second least laps of the test, totaling 1,656 kilometers of running. That's just 11 kilometers more than last place Red Bull and a full 823 kilometers less than the best runners Mercedes. Moving into the top 4 in 2025 is probably Aston Martin's goal, but they've run 33% less test laps than the weakest team in the top 4 from 2024. That matters. That testing data will make a big difference. James Vowles said it best at the end of preseason testing. Top 4 will be the top 4, he said. There is a large gap between them and the midfield. There was very little to impress with Aston Martin's testing, and Adrian Newey will know there is some serious work to do from his first day in the office. Newey's start date means he's too late to influence the initial design of the team's 2025 car, and it seems inevitable that most of his attention will be on the new regulations in 2026, unless Aston Martin shocks everyone by being seriously competitive in the first few races. Before that though, Adrian has said how he'll start his new job. "I'm just looking forward to it, and what will be, Newey told the BBC F1 Back to Base podcast. The first target really is to get to know everybody here, understand how everybody works, and try to integrate myself with everybody. It's talking to the drivers, it's talking to my fellow engineers, trying to bounce ideas off them, getting that sort of creative flow going." Newey joins the team as Aston Martin is also set to partner with Honda from 2026 as its official engine supplier. Newey previously claimed that the joint resources of the Japanese marquee and title sponsor Aramco, Aston Martin has the potential to become a championship-winning team in the future. He said at the time of signing with the Lawrence Stroll-led team, "Together with great partners like Honda and Aramco, they have all the key pieces of infrastructure needed to make Aston Martin a world championship-winning team, and I'm very much looking forward to helping reach that goal." The problem for Aston Martin is that this season, those pieces of infrastructure don't really matter. Aston Martin still has to do what they can with a Mercedes engine which is designed to Mercedes preferences, not their own. Aramco isn't designing and creating the new synthetic fuels for them yet either. For now, Newey and Aston Martin will have to make do with what they already have, and by the sounds of things, that ain't much. But before I talk about what Fernando Alonso has to say about the new car, if you enjoy the content we make and want to catch all the news and analysis from the 2025 F1 season, then please press the like button and subscribe to F1 Reverse. Thanks a lot, it really is appreciated. So, it's pretty rare after F1 testing for drivers to start bashing their cars to the media. Despite all of Mercedes' struggles and Lewis Hamilton's clear displeasure with his team's performance over his final 3 seasons with them, he was never overly negative about the car during pre-season. He saved that for the team radio mid-race. What the drivers tend to say is things like, "It's a forward step," or "We've got some stuff to work out, but it feels good at the moment." Passive, non-committal statements that don't give too much away. Alonso had plenty of time to come up with a rounded opinion on the car, with Lance Stroll coming down ill during the test, meaning the 2-time world champion had all of Friday's running to himself. Alonso's 82-lap haul on Friday gave him plenty to chew on, but he is non-committally optimistic about the car's bones. Team principal Andy Cowell's mission was predictability, and Alonso's buying it, sort of. Difficult to comment, Fernando hedged when pressed. I think you'd have to jump from one car to the other to really see the differences, but the car is for sure a step forward compared to the 2024 car. That feels like a hypocritical statement. The car is both a step forward, but you would have to drive the cars back-to-back to tell the difference. So it's hardly the leap forward that Aston Martin needed to give him a chance at win number 33. However, Alonso did go on to say that while this year's car may not feel much better to drive, the data is very encouraging. The car is faster. The car and all the data that we have is correlating well, and then we see more downforce in all the speeds and all the corners, he said. Obviously, it's a relative gain comparing everyone else. Everyone improves, but we'll find out in Australia. So while Aston Martin's gains may just be in line with the gains of everyone else, Aston Martin is starting to correlate what is happening in the factory with what is happening on track, which is a massive improvement for them. After that stunning start to 2023, when Alonso was a regular podium visitor and looked like he might be a genuine competitor to Verstappen in the driver's title, Aston Martin's performance disappeared. In fact, since that unforgettable first 8 races of 2023, it's hard to pick out a moment where Aston Martin have actually improved their car. They've suffered as Mercedes have, with a big disconnect between the factory and track. The data they get from the wind tunnel and their CFD testing may have looked positive, but when updates were brought to the car, they failed to improve the car. Ferrari had the same problem last year and had to degrade their car for a number of races during the summer as they looked for a solution. It has been a painful year and a half for Aston Martin, as the likes of Haas and Alpine have closed in on them. But if they're finally matching factory to track in their data, then there is performance there for them to find, especially with Newey now in place. Alonso made it clear, though, that while it is a step forward, it is a gain for next year more than this year. It's crucial for us to put things in place and to have a perfect synchronization between everyone in the factory and correlation between the wind tunnel, our own wind tunnel for the first time, and trackside, Alonso stressed. The 2026 rules are around the corner, and we need to make sure that the rest of the team is ready to apply all the efforts. While this all sounds positive for Aston Martin, the truth of the here and now is that the team are probably in the same position they were last season, which was in a battle with Haas, Alpine and the Racing Bulls by the end of the season. Alonso has indicated Aston Martin is where it was in Abu Dhabi at the end of last season. If he's telling the media that the car isn't an improvement in relative competitiveness compared to the rest of the grid, then what is he saying to the team behind the scenes? Alonso is a 2-time world champion. He came to Aston Martin because he saw them as a project that could win titles in the long run. If he isn't seeing an improvement, he isn't going to be happy. Do you think Aston Martin will be a surprise package this season? Or are all their eggs firmly in the 2026 basket? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, and until next time, drive safe and bye for now.